Welcome back to the Pursue Jesus podcast. And every week, one way we pursue Jesus is by pursuing truth. And we're going to talk about something today that I think Christians need to talk about. Is dating. How should Christians date? Who should they date? And this is a fun topic. But before we jump into this topic, Mickey, tell them what they please ought to do.
Guys, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
So we have some videos or reels for you to watch today on some advice about dating. Some funny, mostly good advice. So we're going to check these out and we're going to comment on them. Cool? Let's jump in.
Wait, I have an idea. What is it? So I know you're trying to get Lisa's attention, and as your uncle, I feel like I should give some advice. Okay. Listen to me, boy. You need to go into her room while she's sleeping and lie down at her feet, just like Ruth did to Boaz. That will most definitely get her to like you. I don't think that's a good idea. Well, how about you marry her sister, and one day she'll fall for you? It worked for Jacob. Okay, just stop. I'm not gonna do any of that. Do you have any good advice? Well, how about at church this week, you carry the biggest stack of chairs? Now that's a good idea.
That's fun.
So that's from a joke. If you ever been into a youth group, there's always that one kid who's like stacking and picking up as many chairs as he can, trying to impress the other girls in the youth group. That was in my youth group. When I was a youth pastor, kids did the same thing. And it was always a joke. If your crush was around, man, pick up like 4 or 5 chairs. And like they can see the flex on you.
I know a guy.
I know.
He was carrying all the pizza boxes.
Man, we know who you're talking about. Yeah, Mr. Brad Velez is in the building. So that's to kind of warm us up today. And so what I want to do is show you 3 reels of pretty good Christian advice. We, might fully agree, might disagree with some, but let's check it out from the top.
I don't think dating needs to start super heavy and super hot and, what's the call of God on your life and do you speak in tongues and what's your credit score? And I think sometimes as Christians trying to do it the right way, we get too hot, too heavy, too soon. And I think those first few dates, I really say in the book, first 6 weeks to 8 months, like we just need to laugh, we need to have fun, we need to enjoy each other.
Yep.
Because I'm gonna get in trouble. Just because you love Jesus don't mean I want to spend the rest of my life with you. Like, I know you got to be a Christian and all that, but that's not enough.
Yeah.
Like, people want to hear, is there chemistry? Do you think I'm funny? Like, do I think you're funny? Do you get on my nerves? So, the maximum you should be dating is 2 years.
Okay.
And that's where people get real mad at me and they probably go, but 3 years, 4 years, 5 years.
What are we doing?
Come on. First of all, what we doing? Second of all, we ain't living holy.
Okay. Because I ain't got 2 years.
I barely got 2 years.
So
2 years.
2 years limit. And I agree. And again, let's throw some context in here, right? If you start dating when you're 18 years old, okay, that's a little different, right? You want to, you'll probably then date 4 years or maybe even 5 years if you go to college. I kind of understand that. But if you're 24 years old and you're thinking, I'm going to date this girl for the next 4 years, either one, you don't want to commit, or you're unholy because you're doing unholy things, right? Because it's drastically hard, speaking as a man, to not do anything sexual for 4 years. And so what happens is most Christians just say, I don't care. I don't care. I'm going to marry them. I'm going to do what I want anyways. And so you have to commit earlier than that. I always say, paint or get off the ladder when I'm talking to marriage couples who are engaged. So if you've been engaged for like 6 years, like get married or get out of that relationship, because there's something wrong of why that person doesn't want to commit either to you or they don't want to commit to God. It's one of the two. If you're just started dating, you shouldn't get married in 2 months. You shouldn't get married in 6 months, because to his point, you don't really know them. Yes, they might love Jesus, but do you have chemistry? Do you want to be with them forever? Because what we're doing, Mickey, is we're going to make a covenant between them and God. We're going to be one flesh if we're doing it right. And so what God put together, let no one separate. And so marriage is a big deal in Scripture. Marriage is a big deal to God. And so don't just jump into it, but don't take forever to get married, because I don't think that's helpful.
Just to have my 2 cents in, I think even just both of you knowing that the goal is marriage.
Absolutely.
Because if the goal is not marriage, then you're just wasting your time.
Absolutely. And if you're and to piggyback on Mickey's point, that means if you're dating someone for 3 or 4 months and you think, I don't really like them that much, quit it for your benefit and for their benefit, right? To be unclear is to be unkind is a famous saying. Dave Ramsey says, bring that into your relationships. If you're not for them, you're not for them. That's fine. You'll find someone else. They'll find someone else. And yeah, I just kind of get the mentality. Don't be a super Christian when you're first dating. And what I mean by that, do you speak in tongues? What's your credit score? Like,
What's your denomination?
What's your denomination? Like, get to know each other a little bit.
Yeah.
Give it a couple months, date, and then have those conversations. So I think that's pretty good advice. All right, so we're gonna go to another guy.
Yeah, so guys, this is gonna be really the second tip, and I'm speaking specifically to the brothers and to the men, and that is to make sure that you are intentional and clear about your pursuit with this woman, right? Be clear about your intentions. This whole idea of we're gonna hang out for a while, we're gonna see how it goes, or hey, I'm not really ready to commit to you, I'm not sure where this is going, I want you to see other people, I wanna see other people, we're just kind of friends with benefits or whatever it is. Guys, Christian guys, we gotta stop all that, right? You probably have dated enough people at this point to know what you are looking for. So as a Christian man, it is our responsibility to protect and guard a woman's heart, because most Christian women are looking for marriage and not just to be hanging out and having a good time. So we need to make sure as men that we're coming to the table and we are clear.
That's kind of what you were saying before, right? Be clear with your intentions that you want to get married.
Yeah.
So Mickey, imagine you're starting fresh. Obviously, you've been married to a wonderful woman, but imagine like you're starting fresh, so that someone who's dating or single right now can get a little bit perspective. If you're starting fresh, and what are the things you're looking for in a spouse?
That's a really interesting question, John. You had to put me on the spot. I think that's very hard. Especially being married this long now, it's like, okay, I'm not even in the dating stage anymore. So, yeah. But I would say just how they view life. Like, are they joyful?
Okay.
Do they truly love Jesus? I know that guy kind of said, oh, we love Jesus, but like, that doesn't mean that we're going to be together. But
for sure,
do you truly love Jesus? Yeah. Just say like having fun, just having fun. One thing that me and my wife could relate to, even when we dated, was camping. We both like camping. We like being out in the wild. And sometimes things that you can both relate to, whether it's food, whether it's, I don't know, just something that builds the chemistry between you two and that you both can enjoy as you're growing, the relationship, the goals that you both may have. Yeah, sometimes we, whether it's the man or the woman, we might need somebody to lift us up because we may feel like, I don't know where I want to be. Goals are very important too, Sometimes we drive off each other, I'm willing to help you, you're willing to help me.
Yeah, and the reason I bring that up is because too often, I don't think girls do this, but I think guys do this, especially Christian guys, is they just want to have sex.
Yeah.
So they get married. The problem with that is sex is important, right? It's part of the marriage, but it's, how much time are you going to spend doing that versus how much time you're just going to, spend your life together, working goals together, raising kids together, having fun together, right? You can't build a foundation on the sex, right? You build a foundation on Christ. You build a foundation on commonalities, having fun, having joy with one another, serving, all these different things, and then sex on top, because here's what happens when you're 80 years old, guys and girls. That thing's gonna go, right? It ain't gonna be the same when you're 70. It ain't gonna be the same when you're 60, right? It's gonna drop off a little bit. And so then what are you gonna have? Nothing. If that was your entire relationship, you don't have anything. Instead, you're with a partner you love, you have a relationship with, you have a friendship with, and so that's very, very important as you think about dating. So when you're dating, yes, Christian, absolutely. But two, it can't be, well, I just want to get married because I want to sleep with them. It's like, no. Make sure you enjoy spending time with them. They challenge you. You're going to have the same kind of career aspirations, same kid aspirations. One of you might want to have 10 kids and might want to have one.
Yeah.
That might not work, right? One might be Muslim, one might be, Christian. Yeah, I don't know if that's going to work, right? So do our values align? Do our financial values align? So all of this is very important. Mickey, thanks for sharing.
Yep.
what it would look like if you kind of start over. Thank God you don't have to start over. That would be exhausting.
I'm off the market.
He's off the
Praise
market.
the Lord.
Praise the Lord. All right, so last video to jump in.
Dating, I would encourage you, don't settle. Don't settle for whoever's there. Seek someone who puts down some effort. We don't want just someone who just like meets our expectations. It's amazing when sometimes they would exceed them. So gentlemen, you want to put some thought into a date. Ladies, you want someone who might like bring a thoughtful gift. It doesn't have to be expensive. I mean, he may just pick a flower on the side of the road, like I picked this for you, and takes you to a restaurant and sits down and asks you questions and gets to know you and walks you to the door and protects your heart, protects your purity, honors you, and values you. Guys, if you want a Ruth, be a Boaz. Be a giver, be generous, put some effort into it. Because you don't just attract what you want, you tend to attract what you are.
So if you attract what you are, so if you're selfish, if you're lustful, you're prideful, that's who you're going to attract.
Yeah.
If you're generous, if you're loving, if you're patient, that's what you're going to attract.
And you know what? I'm glad that was said. I got a good example. When I first met my wife, I remember the first instinct was to hug her. But she thought I was weird because she's normally used to men who are not looking to hug her or, you know what I mean? But it's just interesting because it goes back to what he said. Like, I knew what I wanted. I didn't know how to receive that, but I knew I wanted love. So I was approaching her with love. And that honestly, you know, brought her to me. Like, it kind of attracted her to me because it was like, oh, this guy's a gentleman. Like, first time we meet, he wants to hug me. Because I told her, I was like, get out the car. She gets out the car, I hug her, and now we get in the car.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I think a lot of girls are used to losers.
Yeah, prideful man.
And I don't mean that to be mean.
Yeah.
I mean that to be honest and real. And I think they're losers because of trauma and upbringing, and they're living a life of sin. But too often, women have people that won't take them out on dates. They won't open their car door. They won't give them flowers or write them a note and saying, I love you and care about you. And if they don't do that when they're dating, they're not going to do that when they're married. They're putting their best foot forward now. And so ladies and men, if you're watching this, pay attention. If they're not putting their best foot forward, it's probably only going to get worse. And so if he's not treating you as you should be treated, as God would want his daughter to be treated, to be protected and be respected, he doesn't belong in the vicinity with you. And you should want nothing to do with him because you have a God that cares about you and values you, so you should value yourself. And that's what a healthy perspective is like. And too often, because maybe you don't have that love, you'll fall into kind of these traps with men. And men do it too with women. There's women out there that are prying on you, that are kind of leeches with men as well. And so we want to be careful with that. But again, if they're rude up front, when they get married to you, when you put that ring on, it's going to be tenfold. Marriage is going to magnify what you already are. If you're a jerk, oh my goodness, wait till you get married. If you're loud now, wait till you get married.
If you snore,
yeah.
So I wanted to also mention something to the men as well. It is, and I'm not saying we have it the hardest. What I'm trying to say is it is not an easy job as well because biblically speaking, we are told to wash our wives with the word. So we must be equipped.
Yeah.
Love our wives as Christ loved the church, which again, it sounds easier said than done, but that's why it's also very important that when we come to dating, we're also very equipped. You're not going to know everything, but you're going to want to know what God expects of you as a man when you're about to head into this relationship that eventually God says, you have to marry and become one flesh. So that's very important that, yes, as men, we're supposed to study the scriptures, make sure that, our words align with God and that we're just seeking God and praying for the the girl that we're dating. Like, you guys really have to make sure that you're just seeking God and everything, and it doesn't just become an idol. Dating just becomes an idol or a distraction just in the mix of your walk. You just want to make sure that everything just aligns with God's word and you're doing your job and being equipped.
Absolutely. And I do want to say this, if you're dating, you need to be plugged into a local church if you're a Christian. You need other Christians that can challenge you and encourage you. And you also need examples of what healthy relationships look like. Too often people do not know what this looks like. And if you're thinking about getting married or you're engaged, get Christian premarital counseling. That is a necessity. Don't go, well, I love them, we're going to work it out. No. I'm going to get premarital counseling from a Christian, maybe a pastor, maybe a professional, but a Christian perspective on how we get married the right way. You're not on the same page, usually. And you think, well, love just washes it all over. Nah. Y'all got to figure this out. And getting into a Christian perspective and getting a Christian perspective is vital.
Listen, he has heard me and my wife back and forth at a time in where we needed help.
Yeah.
So even going to your pastors, and they may not have all the answers, but you have somebody there to support you guys.
100%. So it's okay to date if you're a Christian. It's great, but love them well. Take it seriously. Have the intention of getting married. Don't waste your time. Stop being engaged for 6 years. Get married. Don't take 2 months to get married, right? That's the quick recap. Remember, you're loved by God. He cares deeply for you, and you should find a spouse that thinks the same. So
don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Tell them. We're out of here. Pursue Jesus Podcast. We'll see you next week. Jesus.